3 points, and they confirm themselves a spot in the last chance qualifier. They will jump over Devil Dogs, thanks to beating Devil Dogs earlier today, and Devil Dogs are not getting any points away from their match against Bleed just before. So if your predictions are correct, we'll see Direwolves all the way to the LCQ.
That would be the ideal situation here. The Direwolves would want to avoid the open qualifier. They would want to have as much of a streamlined sort of pathway, and basically just, well, get it all wrapped up rather nicely. Interesting to me that the ban phase that we are seeing here for Oregon, we don't really get to see, well, either the KB that has been a fairly prominent pick, mind you, throughout just the Asia League in general. Flores does make a whole lot of sense. Flores is one of those operators that can allow you to clear out a number of very important positions. Namely, I mean, we're talking about that whole turtle hold that can be organized on the laundry site as well. So without him, obviously things will be a little bit dicier for the attack, but there's still, you know, Twitch, there's still Brava at large. And then we wrap it up very nicely with Cade and Solus. Solus being almost one of the most OP operators for Oregon, I would say.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good move here from Direwolves. We know what they can do on Oregon. They played it just earlier today and took down Devil Dog pretty convincingly 7-3. They banned the same operators as they did in that match, the Ying and the Solar. So everything seems to be going according to plan if you're a Direwolves fan. But they're going to have to find 7 rounds out of this game to lock themselves into that LCQ. VRX in a position to play spoils. They're not really in a position to get much out of it. But they will be able to play spoils. I think if VRX wins 7-0 or 7-1, they'll be able to jump over Champion into 5th place, I think it is, or 6th place.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually affect anything. Like, it doesn't really give them any extra prize pool or anything like that. So it really is just for glory and to play spoils.
Yeah, to play spoils, yeah, to get some closure for VRX in this split as well. It would be quite a solid
Do it for the
way
homies
to
on
wrap it
Devil
all
Dog
up.
as
Do
well,
it for the
you know?
homies. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, look, for Direwolves, the one thing that I do want to highlight, while Songla did perform quite well in the game against DD, I kind of hope to see Ray once again pop off, seeing as he used to be part of the academy team. Then he sort of branched off for a bit during the Operation League times, and then coming back to Direwolves. Felt almost like the perfect sort of reunion storyline that could have really played out there, but instead, look, we get a full-blown rush.
Yeah, love that. Songla, the guy you said, feeling a lot of pressure. Peter's really low HP and now finished off. This rush has fallen flat on its faces. And it's pretty easy here, pretty staple now for Direwolves to lock it out. 4v2. Rams in a really awkward position, but does find one. Hey, that's something. Backs up into the smoke. Yeah, I do love that Finker LMG. Great stuff from Songla, pushing through that smoke to lock in the kill. And Zist is not going to last at all. So Direwolves was very risky there, but they did recover from the rush and lock out the round pretty easily.
Oh, that did get quite escalated very rapidly, though, Dev, didn't it?
It was very dicey.
Oh, yeah, it got quite dicey very quick. But look, I mean, that's one hell of a way for really attacking half for them, and obviously I would imagine that was sort of just a one-off thing to try to throw off the opponents. Instead, we do get a much more grounded, is probably the best way to describe of a lineup, but it's still a hyper-aggressive one. I mean, you're looking at that, an Ash, a Zoff, a DKB, a Yana, and only Peter has some sort of a resemblance of, hey guys, let's sort of, you know, dial it down, but even then, the legend of the ye old Fragmite from back in the day could still technically live on here.
Well, let's see as we go up.
Actually, frags on Thermite.
Who does, sorry?
I miss frags on Thermite.
Oh, right, yeah. Good old days. That is really turning back the clock. I mean, you know, a modern day problem is complaining about no frags on IQ or Bark or Maverick. The OGs remember Thermite, the absolute killing machine.
Remember.
I remember when Thermite actually had breaching charges as well. Breaching charges and exothermic charges, and you're like,
that was a thing.
If you need something open, I'm your man.
Yep. I mean, technically, you're looking at the well, the closest right now in the current meta, really. The closest one that gets to that sort of position would be Buck. Because shotgun for soft surfaces, hard breach for the secondary hard breach for the hard breach charges, or it would be Zero. But his whole thing is the Argus cameras and the Gon 6, plus the secondaries. But yeah. Anyways, I detract, but neither of these operators are currently in the round, though.
No, and Songlar is busy getting a nice little peek outside. He's actually going for a jog outside Small Tower as well. It's a big pick from him. I think that VRX are trying to cut off his rotate. Yeah, I don't know. Peter's just droning that whole time. Like, not even trying to contest. Just chilled out as he jumped out. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one.
Right. Yeah, okay. They were so close by to each other for so long, and yet neither of them really found the other. But suppose, yeah, look, early start for Direwolves in their favor really exists. Of his opportunity to play in this round does certainly provide a good starting point for Direwolves, and at this point, really, we sort of take a snapshot here, just defaulting back to side and just cutting off all of the points of entries for VRX close by to the side. That's basically you got the whole round. That's it.
Oh, Songlar's been able to sneak back to bot white. Yeah, it's crazy to me that VRX were not able to punish him on his rotate. You know, they had full information. Now they seem to be looking to clear Small Tower, but it's very late in the round as Rams is putting that pressure on Kitchen. Harambe, fully aware of it, and also has Songlar to support him as well. So I think Direwolves might have the drop here. Souffle supporting from above. This is not looking ideal for VRX. I think they're just going to back on out. They know this is very big ask, and I don't think this is going to work out.
It seems like it, although Songlar does still want to contest very up close as well, mind you. That whole gunfight, about to get a very nasty surprise. Songlar, you gotta keep an eye out. Gotta be very cautious. But the flank right now could basically do all the damage needed, and that is exactly the case. Back into the Small Tower, though, we go, which is just seems like we're just going full circle again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's back in Small Tower. Rams has jumped in, Songlar aware of it, and just pre-fires. 3 kills on the round, Cthulhu, from this position. And Jackie Woo's going to easily take down Peter, going for broke, jumping in the site, up to Killers now. Songlar's going for a jog outside. The time is going to hit 0 before Killers has a chance to do anything. A dominant round from Direwolves, and this is exactly the start that they were looking for on Oregon.
One thing I will say, I do have a very odd feeling that this will be an even more one-sided venture compared to something like Bleed versus Devil Dog. At least with Devil Dog, you know, they had that whole thing about, you know, the 0 to hero where they managed to really recover their whole playstyle very early into the season. And very early, I mean by day 2. Here with VRX, they have been on struggle street for basically the whole stage, and only today they managed to finally get themselves something actually workable, but even so, it was still an OT win. So, look, I think Direwolves should be able to wrap it up rather nicely, especially on their own defensive side. If this is nothing more, or rather nothing less of a 4-2 or maybe even 5-1, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I think Direwolves would as well be. They definitely look as strong. I mean, that was a flawless round, right? The first round was a rush, so Direwolves seemed pretty comfortable to combat. So anything worse than a 4-2 or a 5-1 would definitely be a failure here in my eyes for Direwolves. I think that 5-1 is very achievable. But we'll see as they move on now to their tertiary bomb site. This is a really telling round, Cthulhu. VRX can build up a bit of momentum as Direwolves are forced onto the worst bomb sites on the map, as Dorms and Laundry are now locked on the back of their wins. VRX looking for this very lobby-centric push in all these spawns on the street. They're looking to take top down, it seems, putting pressure on Master.
Top down clear would do a solid job here, though I get a feel that throughout sort of this season specifically, we've seen this tertiary side, this kitchen meeting or even kitchen dining, become actually a very well drilled, very well reinforced and set up site where teams really know and really have a good pacing as to how to really play around and play sort of, yeah, even for the post breach with Azami if she doesn't get eliminated by the ban phase. So this is, yeah, overall posing to be a very solid time to play, actually, this very side, which I'm quite excited to see how will Direwolves really be able to adapt it, seeing as Azami and Castle are in play.
Well, VRX have to take this top floor control. It's very difficult to clear out Attic with all these lines of sight. Where are all the players now holding for Direwolves? Because I don't see many upstairs. I don't see almost any upstairs. I think there was one. So Songlight is in the dorms right now, and Pika as well on big dorms. So they're playing fairly conservatively here. They're not looking to be aggressive, not looking to hold too hard onto Attic. But VRX starting to get a little bit of information on where these players are. Have a lot of work to do.
Good double push coming out here from VRX to try to clear out a couple of positions, pre-cooked grenades, all so far being done as part of the sort of siege by the book. Picando needs to be very careful right now as the double push in comes and oof, shut down promptly here.
It's a great 2K there from, was it Zists, I believe, or is it Strike? I can't remember which one. I think they might. The double G36 confused me there for a second, but it doesn't last very long, that advantage, because Direwolves, not only did they find a kill with the Capcan trap, but on top of that, it's an unfortunate disconnect here for Zists. Peter does find one back, so 1v2 now for Harambe. Coming in through the Z hallway, he actually has a chance here to making this a one-on-one. Peter doesn't seem aware of his position, but now he does, and Strike comes in for the final strike. VRX finally get themselves on the board, Cthulhu, but yeah, we'll just have to pause for a moment for them to get all their players back in the server.
Absolutely so. Well, with VRX actually claiming their first point, rather early as well, mind you, into the first half. This is looking actually a good effort from them, at least, to kick it off. Maybe still a 4-2 scoreline will be the aim for Direwolves to really go for.
Yeah.
As they did get picked apart there.
I'd be pretty confident for Direwolves going down to Laundry, right? And then eventually going to dorms. But it's that tertiary bomb site that I'm a bit scared of, because that top floor hold was quite easily picked apart.
Yeah. Well, I think the one thing that they could have really changed around is, say, introduction of Mozzie, or even just simply even like a roaming mute. Really, you bring in one of those mute jammers upstairs, so you would be able to counter those DKB picks. Because I can assure you, VRX, if they can find the one operator that they can use and abuse to be able to assist themselves in picking up the frags, DKB would be one of them. So having the ability of bringing in a mute to the top floor roam to counter that would be a huge boon for them. And the other thing is, I think, even just in terms of the raw fragging power, unless they're being overpowered in numbers, I reckon Direwolves would still have a pretty decent chance to be able to shut down a number of approaches here. So, look, I'll for now, I'll personally just write it off as sort of, just caught off guard on just too many opportunities. I mean, that whole top floor roam has been constantly called by the KB mid that whole push between Strike and Zists. So I can't really fully attribute full failure to Direwolves there.
I wonder whether this pause now features an advantage for Direwolves or for VRX. Oh, is that Boba? That looks like some nice boba, mate. Jackie. Oh, look at him slurping up the boba. I'm jealous. I want to go get some boba, but it's nearly midnight on a Sunday. I don't think there'll be much boba delivery in Melbourne.
It is midnight, true.
Maybe there is. I mean, for you, it's like even later, right?
Yeah,
Over
125.
in the NFZ.
Yeah, daylight savings just recently kicked in, so
Definitely got a lot of boba in Auckland, eh?
Yeah, not a whole lot of boba in Auckland at this time, yeah, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
Maybe tomorrow, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, we can live vicariously through Jackie's boba.
That's the one. But yeah, look, to sort of come back to the game at hand, I'm eyeing out the pick of Pecan here. Thorn being the operator that we don't really see too frequently. I wonder how will she be utilized here, and if she would be played in sort of like in tandem with, say, just holding the elbow with Harambe's mirror, or whether it will be at something completely different location. Because the extended barrels already got nerfed, right?
What did, sorry?
The extended barrel attachment.
Oh yeah, it was.
They did already catch a nerf, right?
No, I don't think the nerf's actually been pushed through. So there was the mid-season designer notes, but those haven't actually gone live yet.
Those haven't yet came. So Thorn's SMG is actually still almost like a two-shot body shot weapon. That is an absolutely deadly piece of weaponry. Same goes as well for Mavericks and 4.
Oh, that thing's insane. That's a two-shot kill.
That thing's nutty, yeah. That's absolutely vile. Same as Zero's assault rifle too. That one is even scarier technically, with higher rate of fire, I believe. But regardless, yeah, look, there's still plenty of weapons to utilize. But yeah, Pecan's SMG, that one will be packing a punch.
Yeah, that's a great gun. Early C4 action. VRX trying to put some pressure. Last time they rushed blue. This time it's quite a bit of pressure on the laundry side. Harambe, what are you cooking up here? Sneaking his way up the laundry stairs. The drone comes out and he decides to back off. Doesn't want to over-aggress, doesn't want to lose his life. Probably the right play, though I admit I'm a little bit disappointed, Cthulhu. I was really hoping for a bit more fire and a bit of gusto out of him there.
I mean, there's still plenty of opportunities for him to show that gusto soon. I think it's just, for now, he sort of tried to get jiggy with it. He tried to find the right sort of angle to pick up killers, but the lack of information, plus just too many angles to really count for, played a very almost cruel joke on him. So, yeah, ideally he would want to fall back. He could still do some absolutely disgusting things with the secondary shotgun at the range that he is currently playing. So, plenty of opportunities, plus minute 20, there's still all the possibilities there for VRX to just push basically anywhere, including even the freezer stairs, which seems to be at least partially like the aim of the remainder of the round.
Well, it seems to be decent progress here for VRX, but I'm a little bit worried about the timer. I'm a little bit worried about that early pick there. What happened? Souffle able to find a kill through the hatch. The strike going down early. Now, fortunately for VRX, that meeting hatch is open. How are they going to find an execute here? They're very well stacked up on the rear side, but another down here. Rams on the ground. It's going to be very difficult for them to pick themselves up. There you go. This is going to do it, but very awkward now. Try and make this work. That is such a one-sided angle. There's no way you can beat Souffle here.
Yeah, bit of a strange idea to try to keep on contesting that position once again. Picked back up, but now both Rams and Zis being a minimal amount of HP. This is going to be a very quick wrap-up, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, looks like it might be. Souffle is the man of the hour with the Deagle as well. It's another flawless round here, Cthulhu. And Direwolves are once again showing their dominance here.
Quick, clean, concise. Seems to be the gameplay here from Direwolves, not really wasting too much time. The one-sided setup's been absolutely just stunning there from them, and no other way to really give any sort of way here for VRX. They were forced to go through each and every one of those choke point setups without any plan B, really, and that has been punished in full. And round 5, we're going back onto one of the main sites once again, the kids' bedroom and the main bedroom as well. And that just looks like a deadly setup. Plus Harambe bringing out the Supernova. That shotgun with some of the more recent patches became basically a sniper shotgun.
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? And it's great. I love that we're seeing a lot more players bring it on Echo, knowing that the Bearing 9 is a serviceable weapon if you actually need to get into an engagement, right? It's not a close one. We're even seeing this Supernova quite a bit on the Amaru as well, since she has the SMG-11. We saw that in our previous game with Bleed. But for now, I'm really looking at VRX. You know, they need to break through here. Cthulhu, Direwolves are pretty much a shoe-in for the 4-2 half. Whether they can get the 5-1, not only hinges on this round, but also the next one for me, because if they win here on Dorms, they will be forced back onto a tertiary bomb site, which is the only round of attack that VRX has won so far.
But even then, it was still a fairly,
yeah,
one could say a very goofy round.
It was. But the thing is, the last time VRX tried to attack Dorms, it was a flawless round. So Direwolves have been really dominant on these key bomb sites.
Look, maybe they would have been dominant, but Songla unfortunately maybe got a little bit too keen to try to be dominant in that regard. But Souffle at least gets a trade-off, so suppose you trade off your Aruni for a Maverick. Suppose you take that trade any time of the day.
Yeah, that's definitely a win for the defense on that in terms of the util exchange. Jackie Wu, don't overpeak here. Yeah, he's very keen. This nade could finish him off.
Good placement though, but unfortunately, yeah, just a little bit too late on that frag grenade. Probably would have wanted to supplement that nade before even going for that swing. But regardless of that, without the information, obviously, that was quite a difficult try. Harambe, how are you alive with all this play and with all this timing? But still decides to actually keep on sticking around. Shotgun here would be perfect, actually.
Yeah, he does also have a shield in pocket he can bring out. Jackie Wu supports. I believe that was through the vertical game. Harambe's feeling a lot of pressure now. There's no nades left for VRX to try and flush him out. And he's holding on here.
It's perfect.
So
really
much
good
support above. I mean, he's trying to hold this position. He rounds the corner with a shot. He finds one, looking for another one. Can't quite get the job done. The damage might still be, as VRX just have Strike low HP and Peter to try and pick this one back up. 35 seconds to go.
35 seconds to go, not much can be really organized here by VRX. No really meaningful ground has been really taken, so it's just hope and prayers for a blind pre-fire through the floor. And actually, Jackie Wu does go down to that very same blind pre-fire. As surprising as it is.
That is something else. Maybe this is winnable. Who knows? I won't question it until the round is over. But Pika may have just closed it. Souffle is the nail in the coffin.
Okay.
Well, that was a nice attempt there with that floor bang. But Direwolves do go up 4-1. And now the question remains, will they be able to lock in this kitchen meeting bomb site?
Suppose that would be the ultimate question here. Curious to see if that will really work out, because I mean they still have a pretty solid idea with how to play it, and even in terms of the lineups, it has been fairly workable. But yeah, just as long as they can avoid being picked apart one by one, especially on that top roam, they could really make some great work off the upstairs play, even just by introducing a little bit of an extra dedication of the Capcan utility to the top floor. Could slow things down, could indicate just about when the push is about to happen. And if not Capcan, even somebody like Legion would be absolutely perfect here. Bring Legion, bring Ella. For this sort of site, you would want to really lean at least to some degree into the trap meta. And to be able to confuse your attackers, this would be the ideal site to really pull that off. And exactly for that, well, we have the Melusi as, I suppose, the substitute for that very case.
Well, I am also glad, on top of the trap util, that we do have the Bandit. I was a little bit worried seeing the last round where I think it was, I can't remember if it was Ace or Thermite that got the job done, but open up the wall that Sky, our observer, is looking at right now. If the attackers can breach that wall, it becomes so difficult for defenders to play inside of sight. The attackers get a great crossfire right across meeting. Now, it'll be much more difficult this time with Direwolves bringing that Bandit, that wall denial. As well, the Castle. I actually don't remember if they had Castle on their last defense of this site. They did? Okay, interesting. Well, I hope, I like it. But it didn't work last time, did it? So I really hope Direwolves have a little bit more conviction on this defense.
Yeah. Well, with already changes like the introduction of Bandit being made, surely they would have a pretty decent idea as to what needs to be introduced. Harambe still has one more castle barricade, which I'm assuming will be used on one of the doorways to go into the B side to just sort of slow things down even further, or maybe it's being kept as sort of the pocket one to sort of close off when he needs to rotate, which again would be a great idea. In the meantime, I'm quite curious how will VRX actually deal with this, because this didn't bring the impact EMPs. There's no vertical angle to get rid of the bandit charges.
Peter's got the impids.
Oh yeah,
so that's something at least. I'm a bit scared though, like imagine you're the Thermite trying to put an exothermic on that wall knowing that there's like 5 different places you could die to. That's what would terrify me. Yeah,
that would be basically GG really there for the round. 5-1 would be soul-crushing here for VRX, because even now they kind of still have that, you know, glimpse of hope. And without it, it's going to be, well, basically non-existent. Coming back from a 5-1, albeit on your own defense, yeah, look, you could probably do something, but yeah, generally speaking, it's going to be quite a tall order.
So out goes a Dockerby call. Peter's trying to cover the hallway, and Rams upstairs does find Songlar. That's a really long angle all the way from top armory into the kids' dorms. The exothermic almost goes out, but Jackie Wu bandit juggles it. That's a massive boon now for Direwolves. They might have a man down, but VRX, their push has been stunted.
Oh, such a good set of swings, but Strike actually from behind, from a different position here, could actually throw a huge spanner in the works, although I say that 1v3, all of a sudden, whatever the progress that could have been made from his position became very much negligent here. 53 seconds, legs are exposed as just as open as they can be, and yeah, from here on, you sort of just, farm up maybe 1 or 2 kills, and that's basically cheerio, all done.
This is winnable if he can bait the kills, but they seem to have a pretty good read on the situation. Player has retaken above. Souffle to time his peak well, and it looks like it is indeed Cthulhu, a 5-1 half for Direwolves. 2 more rounds, and they will go to the last chance qualifiers.
Well. Direwolves definitely not really messing around anymore. They want to make sure that they just close it all off, keep it a clean game, and then, start preparing for the LCQ. Because even in the LCQ, things could get really dicey. Between themselves, Elevate, and Bleed Esports, they have quite a road to go.
Well, yeah, let's just talk about that for a second, right? In the last chance qualifier, we only have, 2 teams from Asia going to the major, and that includes both Southeast Asia and South Asia, right? So I think most people would probably say Bleed's a pretty safe pick, but then Direwolves will, if they are able to win this game and make it to the LCQ, they're going to be competing with teams like Elevate, they're going to be competing with teams like Hunters LFO. There are a lot of... Pardon? And Shaheen's?
And Shaheen's, yeah.
Right, so I missed it. Did Shaheen's actually already make it to the LCQ?
Believe so, yeah. So Shaheen's were the ones they won over Hunters in yesterday's playday.
Wow.
And it was by... It was an absolute landslide. Like, we're talking... Let me just quickly confirm that. Shaheen's versus Hunters was a 7-1 on board.
Wow, that's massive. So Shaheen's are definitely in the last chance qualifier. I said Hunters LFO. They might be there if they can make it through the open quals. But Shaheen's, right, like with their form coming off a 7-1, Elevate, Bleed, Direwolves are going to have their work cut out for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No matter who even comes out through the open qualifiers, it is going to be still by far, if not another just, difficult game to really go for. It's by far one of the most difficult games that they could have to qualify for Copenhagen as well here. With Pican as well getting rid of Strike, we are slowly but surely inching away to yet potentially another point.
Wait, what? He's
already
inside?
on site. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
He's
looked up from my notes, and yeah, he is an apparition. And he has managed to get onto site. Fortunately for VRX, they have finally taken him down, but Jackie Wu is in a great position here. He's got to worry about the vertical game, though. And the C4 has been utilized for Peter. Songlar now going to swing this player below. And that should bring this back into the realm of possibility for Direwolves with Jackie tossing down that plant. with the shield on his back. Rams, the savior of the round, finds a double. And he could have made this winnable now for VRX.
Truly, this is where VRX claimed their second round here. That could be an absolutely big one for them to completely turn over as well, because off the back of, well, what could be technically called as a bit of hubris from Direwolves with Pecan pushing as far as he did. Really, VRX could really punish here their opponents, but that will very much depend on them just being able to close out the round, to hold their angles, not really give away too much ground to Direwolves. And even then, through all those pre-fires, you got to be very careful about how you position yourself. But the diffuser is down, and this is huge.
It is, but a player once again has disconnected from the game, so it's all up to Souffle. He's cleared the Aruni gate, but they know exactly where he is, and he doesn't have any nades left. He does a bit more damage there to Rams, but jumping into this crossfire is not going to pan out well for him. He's going to have to use the time that he's got on the clock as he tries to jump down below. He once again has to walk into a crossfire, but this one's a little bit more doable. Receives a couple of bullets, and Killers will eventually take him down. So it's not a 5-1, or not a 6-1 after all. It is going to be a 5-2 scoreline. VRX, thankfully for them, they bring it back. That was going to be a dangerous rush from Direwolves.
Oh yeah, if that would have came out in favor of Direwolves, that would have been just absolutely deadly. But look, yeah, all things considered, VRX still get to float around, still get to stay in the game, which is at least brings some promise of a few more heater rounds here. But look, for Direwolves, I mean, they consistently keep on applying more and more pressure here on their opponents. Whereas on VRX, I gotta give them props. Their defense is still very well organized, or at least showing good discipline. In terms of they're not overextending, they're just applying just about enough pressure to keep their opponents nervous about the gunfights. And that is exactly what seems to be working out here. And what I mean nervous is just those occasional cheeky peeks that you know for a fact that majority of the times players won't have to connect unless it's, you know, a miraculous timing on the pre-fires.
Yeah. No, I guess it was a risky play there for VRX to go dorms on their first defense. We go now to Laundry Supply. I assume so. Is that safe to assume, Cthulhu, in Southeast Asia, right? Like, I mean, these guys know that they're going to have to win their tertiary site anyway. Maybe they just go there right now instead of faffing around. I feel like there's definitely something to be said for going down to the basement, building up some momentum instead of just going straight to the tertiary side. But hey, they went to dorms before Laundry, so maybe, I don't know.
Look, I mean, yeah, Laundry would be a necessary sort of thing for them to go to, because they want to make sure that they are just wrapping it all up with a nice sort of bow tie. They continuing to keep on applying more and more pressure. Total hold in Laundry would be perfect here. Though, then comes the question of how well will Direwolves be able to pick it apart? Because they already know how to hold it. They did a phenomenal job at it. For their attack, look, well, Flores is out of the equation. You have the ability to still bring on DKB, which could be a good way to, say, clear out the ground floor, maybe even the top floor. From there on, look, I mean, Hib plus Ace, maybe, and the rest just fill it with the fraggers, and there you go. You got the win. Thatcher is technically... Wait, Thatcher... Did he get banned? I have a slight slip of my memory. No, Thatcher did not get banned. No, it's Ying that has been banned. So Thatcher, you bring out Thatcher, that's it. You got the whole combination. 2 hard breaches to Thatcher and then 2 fraggers. In form of, like, say, either Ashe Ozolf plus Iana.
Yeah.
There's your winning formula.
There you go. If only it were that easy.
It's that easy.
Sometimes it does feel that easy, doesn't it? Sometimes it really doesn't.
Just click heads.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is fire 5 bullets, right? I mean, technically, you could fire less than that if they line up. If you want to really get creative about it, get the collab.
True.
Fun fact.
Then bring in Kali's sniper as well to double up on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you remember exactly, but I remember they changed it a couple of years ago. Like, you used to actually not be able to collat in this game. Like a bullet
That's
would
true.
not pass through people. But then they changed it, so I think it's like certain guns can collat through like different amounts of surfaces, and some don't.
Yeah, based on caliber, I think,
Yeah, well, there you go.
to make it slightly more realistic.
Amazing. I love that for us, honestly.
Very nice.
Very,
Oh yeah,
very
absolutely.
nice. I gotta say, like, I mean, Harambe wearing the tank top today. He looks real mean. He looks real ready. He looks real intimidating. Oh, and just showing off the guns as
Showing off
well.
the guns.
Someone cover your eyes. This man. I mean, I love seeing him back in the server. Yeah, we get both.
Yeah.
I love seeing him back in the server. I mean, back in the OG days, he was always bringing a certain character that Direwolves in recent times has really sorely missed, right? It was Harambe and ED were the main brands and the main faces of Direwolves. And I'm glad that, Direwolves are in a winning position now. We might get to see some smiles back on those dials.
It just happened. I think the smiles will only start coming out at this point once Direwolves either confirm themselves for LCQ or after they actually can qualify from LCQ to the major.
Yeah.
I think this is where they start getting the smiles back on, because I think after the sheer blow that was dealt to them, you know, ED retiring, losing Reaps as well, things went a little bit sort of sideways for Direwolves, where whilst they're still a powerful roster at hand, they could definitely use that old glory, I reckon, and without the old glory, things definitely taken a bit more of a serious approach, I feel.
Yeah, very true. Well, we'll
Regardless
see.
of that, though,
Was that, sorry?
I was just about to sort of pivot to the picks, but
I'll go
because
for it.
we got the 0 pick.
Hey, you were
The one
about it
operator
before.
that the only operator that I froth at the mouth, because in terms of just theory and how you can utilize him, he is by far one of the most agile ones. You want him as the flank watch, Argus cameras. You want him as the hard breacher, there you go. You want him as the person to spearhead the push, you got the perfect gun for that. So he's almost like that Swiss knife, really, of Rainbow.
Yeah, he's great. And Monty is as well, as Jackie Wu has spotted out killers, and you said the 0. Picker has actually found an opening onto Strike, the Capcan player. He's made his way into T3 of the tower. There's still quite a few roamers still alive and active. Jackie Wu's taking a bit of damage. Songla has taken down one of those deadly roamers. Ram's put in the dirt, and this is not looking great here for VRX. This is meant to be a very defender-sided bomb site, but Direwolves have a 2-player advantage.
As well as that, majority of their anchor positions have not been yet breached or disrupted in any form. Hatches are yet to be breached these as well here, so things are looking dangerous. On top of that, Songla, no, that's not the way how you want to go here, man.
Yeah, roughy.
Yeah, bit rough indeed. But I mean, minute 12.
Oh, I like that.
That is great. That is excellent right now from Pican.
Yeah, great usage of the 0 as well. After the Hibana was unable to clear off that mirror window, the 0 can get the job done. Now, Jackie Wu is struggling a little bit here outside of blue. He falls back, but he at least can give some information here. As Peter continuing to play this position here, now in Harry Potter. Surely Souffle reads this. He does. A nade to go over. Doesn't land. A second one. But Harambe has spotted him, and I think the flash should have landed there. Is Peter going to survive?
Surely not.
Surely
Wait.
not. Oh
Surely
my
not.
god.
Peter actually still makes it work. Oh, he's a magician, mate.
Yeah, I mean, that is the dead opposite of a Peter out, I tell you what. He has gone Peter in. And now Harambe has got to get him, and does just barely. Oh my. I won't tell anyone, Peter. I won't tell anyone what I just saw. Killers now. He spots a Montaigne. He walks straight through the gas. And Pika, a 3k on the round. Big one from the 0. And that's going to put Direwolves not only on map point, but on LCQ point. They win this next round, and they will go to the last chance qualifier.
There we go, yeah. And, I mean, with the way how accelerated some of their plays were, I mean, I would not be surprised if they wrap it up in the next round as well. Everything has been pointing to that specific case, and I mean, when you have a Zero that is fragging out the way he is. Oh, it's a dangerous game. Though, yeah, look, for VRX, can't help but feel for them. The whole regular season has been just a rough run and a half. And I mean, we're looking at the standings as well. Bottom of the leaderboard, no matter how you put it. With wasted potential, unfortunately forfeiting the rest of their games. VRX are the next up on that leaderboard. And yeah, look, things were dicey as it is. 7-2s, 7-3s, 7-1s to kick off the season, and yeah, the rest didn't look as any better really. So hopefully going into stage 2, if they do make it back, we would see them really perform. But yeah, this definitely is sort of one of those situations where one would have wanted to see a little bit more from VRX given their potential back at the Operation League, but look, Direwolves definitely feel a whole lot more activated now. They are motivated here.
Absolutely. And you know what's more than that is Direwolves have never ever lost to VRX before. Last year, both the times they clashed, they were fairly convincing 7-4 wins for Direwolves. And so VRX had their work cut out for them, and they are continuing to be cut apart. Rams going down early. All it took was Songlar to just stick his head in a window. And Direwolves now not only have match point, but also the opening kill.
Yep. Up next would be the clearance of the big tower, seeing as it has quite a big bulk of operators hanging around that area. Zist as well, starting to get a little bit more keen for maybe a quick cheeky run out, but even then, you know, running out smoke probably you wouldn't want to lose him this early.
Maybe not.
Especially when it's 1 to 6 smoke as well. A bit out there.
I mean, it's the hard thing, right? When you're down in the dumps like VRX are right now, you feel the pressure to make a play. Because you feel like if you just play on from the odds of the game as it currently stands, you're going to lose. And now you need to find something special. So that's great. That's something special from Peter. Really, he should have died there to Souffle, but Souffle didn't commit to that peak fast enough. It allowed Peter to get back in the game. And while he does take a bit of damage, he's taken a player down.
Yeah, being able to get rid of Souffle out of all the players is a good starting point. Though, at the expense of completely abandoning the big tower as well, that's ground floor basically now completely cleared out, back to default positions at the site. Just try to hunker down, but already, I mean, 2 minutes drained for the trade of Rams for Souffle. Look, that's still technically a win for the defense, but at a very high cost. I mean, the E-Box has been now completely forfeited. The boiler is about to be assaulted next. And from here on, at this rate, VRX will run out of ground to really forfeit, really, to fall back to. So cornered they will be. And yeah, look, it could be rough. 38 seconds on the board. Direwolves are about to collapse.
And this could be where they book themselves a slot in the last chance qualifier. Cthulhu. Harambe has made his way up to Pillar as Peter patiently waits for him to round that corner, and Harambe will abide, delivering the fatal blow. Now 4v3 now, VRX holding the line, but how much longer can they hold it for? Direwolves begin their collapse, but time may be their biggest enemy. They've got to get a move on. The over-aggression from Strike gets punished. Jackie Wu comes in from Freezer, and Zists cannot get it done. Direwolves, the comeback from 6 points at the start of the day to 12 points by the end of it, and a spot in the last chance qualifier. They are not out of this yet.
A sigh of relief can be seen from Harambe.